And we are speaking with Daniel Victor of Neverending White Lights. Daniel, pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to be here.
We just finished your set here at Tattoo Rock Parlor in Toronto. How important is the live experience of Neverending White Lights to you now compared to, say, 5 years ago? Because, of course, most bands are making their money through T-shirt sales, concerts, as opposed to, record sales these days.
Touring and playing live is very important to us nowadays, even more so than it was years ago. And the reason is because so many people are just torrenting records and downloading records. So as a whole, our album sales every year just keep going down and down and down. So the emphasis becomes on the live show because people still like to go to concerts. It's like people still go to the movies instead of ripping bad quality or streaming bad quality DVDs at home. You can only listen to so many highly compressed MP3s before you're like, okay, get me out of here, I want to see a live show. So there's a need to go and see bands, and there's a need for people to want to have a part of the band, which is really no longer the album, but really merchandise. So I think coming up with different clever ideas for merchandise is very important, which is why Neverending White Lights is thinking about launching different types of things like, scarves, hats, ties, vests, things like that, other than just the t-shirt. But as a whole, the live performance for us allows us to bring different guest artists to sing live like we do in the studio. To sort of make a more fulfilling live show for people. So it's something we're trying to concentrate on this year, 2010, and next year as well.
Right. And obviously you put a lot of effort into each album. You're working on your third album now. How important is the concept of the album to you now, given that it's probably less important than it has been in recent years with people downloading singles as opposed to perhaps entire records? But obviously you put a lot of effort into it, given that your albums are Act 1, 2, 3.
I always thought conceptual records were the most important albums because they told a story from start to finish. And I think a lot of albums that people buy don't realize that they are conceptual. I mean, you might take Dark Side of the Moon and say, okay, there's a record that could be conceptual, but most records have a flow. Every Radiohead record, OK Computer, In Rainbows, like there's a rhyme and reason to why those songs flow together the way they do. For me, I made my first two records about two different themes. The first one being about spirituality, life and death, and the second one being about eternal life. And I think it gives people more of an experience, almost like a movie, where each song is a scene in the movie. And you can go on that journey. You hit play, you start the first track, you listen to it start to finish, and you go somewhere. And that's what I've been doing my whole career with my two records that I've already released. And now with the third one on the way this summer, I'm doing the same sort of thing, creating some sort of concept. This one actually about tragic love and the journey that it takes you on. I think it's something that people will relate to, and it's not just one song or two songs, but a whole record. So you have to devote 60 minutes of time to take that journey.
All right. What can you tell us about album number 3?
Well, the third record's been in the works for 2 years. It's been blogged about, it's been written about, critics have talked about it. It's taken me more time than I had hoped to do it because I kept starting and stopping, scrapping material, starting again, and basically ran around in circles for 2 years on this thing. So I've just started to solidify a track list. It looks like about 13, 14 songs. It was supposed to be a double record. Now it's not a double record, just a single record. Most people have a hard time absorbing material, so instead of giving them this ADD prescription, which they're not going to be able to fill, we're going to do one record and then do a B-side to it a little later on. The third record's called Love Will Ruin. It's Neverending White Lights, and it'll be out later this year.
Okay. Any guests that you can talk about right now?
Actually, what we decided to do, and this is an exclusive for you because I've not done an interview about this record, I've kept it hush. We are not doing any guests for the third record. First album, we had over a dozen. Second album, we had over a dozen. As you know, we've had Dallas Green, we've had Our Lady Peace, 311, Finger 11, all these fabulous artists. Third record, we're foregoing guest artists just to do it from scratch, the real way the songs were meant to be heard, which is my vision of the songs, with me singing the songs.
Okay.
A lot of artists ended up saying to me, well, I'm Renee. Renee's in the house.
Hey, how's it going?
Renee's trying to say.
No problem.
He's trying to say. Actually, what a lot of fans try to say is that they want to hear the songs being sung by the person who wrote the song. We don't need Dallas Green to cover this song. We don't need Rain to cover this song. We want to hear the creator cover this song. So I decided, let's do the third record, third in the trilogy, without guest vocalists. And there is nobody on the album. It is all me start to finish, and it makes more sense to me as a creator, that it embodies more of the spirit that I'm going for instead of trying to translate that to other people. Initially, the concept to have different guest artists was a new groundbreaking thing.
Yeah.
But I will bring that back down the road. I think 2 records with guests, maybe a little break without, and then change it up is the best way to go for this
All right.
type.
And finally, how has your idea of what Never-Ending White Lights is changed from its original conception, you and Windsor getting all these guest artists together, to now, 2010?
Well, initially the record was supposed to be more of a project, something that would come out and not necessarily require a video or a live show, just something that people could own that they would like because they had all these different guests on it. But the success grew off the first record. We had a big song called The Grace with Dallas Green, and our second record grew even bigger. So at this point, people want to see us live. People want us to tour. We've had 5 videos at Much Music. You know, we've done MOD. We've done a lot of big things. So
People want your vests.
people want the vest and the outfit. I have to basically dress Victorian now for the rest of my life because the first video I was a Victorian character.
Fair enough.
With that aside, it's more about connecting with the audience, and to connect with the audience, you have to bring the live show to the people, which is what we're doing. So from Act 3, we're going to do an extensive tour, and I think from here on in, it's going to be about building the live show.
Excellent. Daniel Victor from Neverending White Lights.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.